W
T L.
It's time! W
T L.
I think we got a show. Oh yeah, we got a show. W
T L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Here's the line. Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
JaBron.
The parlay
You got it.
pounder.
You got it. We're back. We're back.
We're back in a big way, too.
Yes.
I mean, we got NBA Finals.
Woo.
NHL Finals.
Woo.
CWS. The
Yes.
greatest show on dirt is making its way to Nebraska.
You
The road
got
to
it.
Omaha has been laid out.
Yes,
we
it
got
has.
64 teams. Huskers fell a little short. That's a
little
story
bit.
for another day. But we got to talk some fight night, too.
Yeah.
UFC.
Of course. We always got to talk Fight Night, but I am really excited for that College World Series stuff. The
Yes.
regional starting.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we just got to hammer it out of the stadium right away and get on these Denver Nuggets.
Yes, we do. So we got the NBA Finals. We have the 8 seed, the Miami Heat. Everybody had them
Everybody
getting there.
had
the Heat.
Easy lock, easy money.
Yep. And then Denver.
Yeah.
I think there's been some buzz out there saying this might be the easiest path a team has ever taken to the finals, knocking off a 7 seed in your Lakers, an 8 seed, and then their toughest game was the 4 seed Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what everybody's saying right now. But I believe any time that you can beat Kevin Durant in a 7-game series and LeBron James in a 7-game series, I think you're doing all right. So, no, I don't believe it was an easy path for them, but they're the best for a reason, and they're favored in this matchup for a reason.
So a little rundown of where we're at right now. Nuggets are a minus 400 to win this series outright.
Yep.
Miami Heat at a plus 310. Where we started, point spread opened up on many books at a solid 6, plus 6 for Miami, minus 6 Denver. Denver to the 6-point favorites. Money line at a minus 350 for Denver, and that line has moved all the way up to a consensus 9 points.
Going up.
Up. I mean,
I don't think it's done yet either, Andy.
I bet you're right. When later on, and we get today closer to tip off, it probably will get up to 10.
Yeah.
Maybe even 10 and a
10 and a
half,
half.
which I think is even crazy because I do. I don't know about you, JaBron, but I buy into Denver's rested.
Yeah.
They're at home, the altitude, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I buy into it. And then the Joker as well. Like, just throw the Joker on top of all that jazz. I do like Denver, but by 10 points, line's sitting at 9 right now. Where are you at?
Yeah, this is the NBA Finals. People got to realize that these are, clearly the best two teams in
Right,
the NBA
yes.
in the NBA right now. Although the Heat have proven that they can upset NBA teams, the best NBA teams, Andy, winning in Denver could be a whole different story. So I do believe that Miami will keep it close, but I don't think they can win. The Heat have lost 6 consecutive trips to Ball Arena, averaging just 98 points a game, Andy. And then Miami hasn't won in Denver since November of 2016. They haven't won in Denver since 2016, although they did have a playoff road win against the Nuggets. That actually happened in Orlando, Florida during the bubble.
You're going to count that, the bubble win?
Well, I have to. That's LeBron's last championship. So, no, I do believe, obviously this is the easy answer, that Denver wins the game, but Miami Heat, you have to give them their respect. They just took down the Boston Celtics, probably the overall, everybody thought that they were going to win the finals, I believe, especially coming out of the East. But Miami Heat, got up on them early and, played a really, really solid Game 7 and got here.
Hey, and you're hearing all this buzz right now about Eric Spoelstra. Spo. Heat culture. Hashtag heat culture.
Yep.
And I'm on board. Joe Mazzulla, the head coach of the Celtics, I think he should be stripped from all coaching responsibilities. He should never be allowed to coach in the NBA again. They should
agree.
Fire him in Boston and then take away his NBA coaching forever. And also, 12 years ago, get this.
Yep.
Butler, led by Jimmy Butler, knocked out West Virginia out of the NCAA tournament, and wouldn't you know it, Joe Mazzulla was one of the All-Stars. No, he was an All-Star for West Virginia.
Wow.
Jimmy Butler was on the other side, a guard for Marquette. So this
classically unknown guy, really.
Yeah, so this isn't the first time that old Jimmy Buckets has got the better of Missoula. Then on the flip side, Eric Spoelstra, I mean, you tune into ESPN or any of the talk shows, and I'm on board. I've wiped off Phil Jackson and Red Auerbach as greatest coaches on Mount Rushmore. And
Eric Spoelstra's right there.
I'm putting him LeBron, and then I'm putting another one of him post LeBron, and then I'm going to wipe out a fourth coach and just put the hashtag Heat Culture.
He's got all the eras covered. Yeah, Phil Jackson take a back seat, Popovich take a back seat. Yep. It's Spo time.
It's all
so.
Spo.
No, I do agree that he's a very, very good coach and probably the best coach in the NBA at this time. But let's slow down, people.
I know, that's what I'm getting.
We saw Phil Jackson take MJ and Kobe to whatever 15 straight finals or whatever. But although I'm confident in the Nuggets, Andy, there is no way that Jimmy Buckets is going to let them win by over 9, let alone 10 points. So
you're getting back to game one here.
Yes.
Here we go.
After all, the Heat are impressive 12-4 against the spread in their last 16 games, whereas the Nuggets are just 4-4 against the spread in their previous 8. Denver has been winning games, but they do take them down to the end, and Joker and Jamal have been able to make those shots.
Right.
Jamal Murray been sensational late game for the Denver Nuggets. Joker really, takes the load the first 3 quarters of the game, especially 1 and 2, and really puts Denver on its back. But Jamal Murray has been the driving force in the fourth quarter for the Denver Nuggets. So I really believe that the Heat keep it close, might even have a lead late in the fourth quarter, but I do believe at Ball Arena the Nuggets come out on top. But my best bet, Andy, is Miami Heat +9 right now. You have to love that with the grit that the Miami Heat have.
Well, this is 2 gritty teams.
Yes, it is.
And they're 2 defensive teams. So I actually think the best bet is maybe that under. I saw it at 219, still hanging around that 219 mark. I think that unders, you got to take a long, hard look at that.
Yeah.
And you're right, Jamal Murray, he has been Mr. Money, hitting big shot after big shot down the stretch. And I also think, you're talking about grit.
Yeah.
I think Denver, they know that they have the grit now. They have the All-Stars. So they're not worried if a team hangs around. I mean, not that they would ever be worried, but they also have that quiet confidence where they're not, like we've always said all season long, they're not worried about covering the spread. They're worrying about closing out games, winning games. And that's kind of where I want to take this conversation is these futures bet. Because we put the poll question out there on our YouTube channel on the community tab there. Will they win in 5, within 5? Or will it be a push? Sweep, win in 5, or not?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Denver is so efficient. Game 1's at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm right there. I'm thinking they could very easily win this in 5.
Oh, for sure. I mean, just the amount of talent that Denver has, they can sweep this Miami Heat team. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
With the way the Miami Heat have played so far in the postseason, they just don't give up. Even if they're down 2 games, they're not going to give up. And if they take one of these road games in Denver, hold on to your seatbelt, because if you give this dog in the fight just a little bit, if you give Jimmy Buckets even a little bit of leeway, he's going to make them suffer. But
it has been a very fun to watch these NBA playoffs, and the Heat just persevere and figure it out and win, and then Denver doing what Denver just always does.
Yeah.
This has been pretty exciting.
In the flip side that we're talking about, the defensive side for Miami Heat, this could really match up well for the Miami Heat. Sticking Jimmy Buckets on Jamal Murray, making him make big shots against big-time defenders, and then we're forgetting about Miami Heat's number 2 here, Bam Adebayo.
I like
that
Bam.
Could really, really put up some numbers against Nikola Jokic if he's not playing hard on both ends. So we know that Jokic is going to get his points, get his rebounds, get his assists, but will he be able to stop Bam on the offensive side and really... That offensive rebounding was a huge thing for the Lakers series, that they couldn't get offensive rebounds when they thought it would be a really good thing for them with the size of LeBron and AD. Will Bam just eat lunch there with those offensive rebounds? So I really like Bam. as a huge step up player in this series, but playing against Joker is no joke.
Real quick here, we got a couple of minutes. Is there any way you're going to put any type of bet on Finals MVP? Because these lines are way out of whack. You got the Joker coming at a minus 325. The next closest is Jimmy Butler at a plus 325.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray plus 1,200. Bam Adebayo plus 5,000 to win that Finals MVP. Obviously, everyone's thinking it's going to the Joker or to Buckets, Jimmy Buckets. Other than that, is there even worth a play being made here?
There really isn't. Like, no matter what, if Denver wins, it can't go anywhere but Joker. Even if Jamal Murray would average 35 points a game in the finals, he still can't win the Finals MVP because Joker will have a triple-double every single game of this series, Andy. So it's going to be very tough for anybody. No, the only value play is Jimmy Buckets right now, plus 325, like you said, because if Miami Heat wins, it's going to him. So that is the only value play right now, is to put that in for Jimmy Buckets at plus 325, but there's not really a good bet here because everybody thinks Denver's going to win, maybe win in 5 or 6. Yeah. But if you're a Heat backer, jump on that 325.
Yeah, but plus 325, and we saw it in the Eastern Conference Finals where there's some noise there saying, does Jimmy really deserve it? Because you had another guy there.
Yeah.
An unsung hero putting in some big-time shots there at the end.
Exactly.
In Games 6 and 7, and it really didn't matter.
It really didn't matter.
All 9 voters were like, no, Jimmy Buckets.
Well, they wouldn't be there without him. And
Game 1 and 2 was all Jimmy.
It was all, and that's what really did the series for Boston, because if they wouldn't have lost either one of those games, they would have won. So that's just what it is. If I had to do a best bet of Game 1, Andy, Joker's coming out with a triple-double. It's plus 100 right now. Lock it in. He'll probably get it in the third quarter. So lock that plus 100 bet for the Joker triple-double.
I like that. You even got a little player prop there for Game 1.
It's what it is.
And that's good. Hey, you've been riding the Stars, too. You had LeBron.
You got to.
And he's smashed a couple parlays for you.
Big time. NBA playoffs, it's all about superstars.
Yes.
I know that in Miami Heat are riding high right now with their undrafted players and all that kind of stuff. Nikola Jokic is looking to make the next step into stardom to start talking about maybe one of the greatest players of all time. And this is his chance to do it right here. So triple-double, Game 1, at Ball Arena, plus 100, easy money.
Easy money. I like it all. All right, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners as the Nebraska Brewing Company, and we have been drinking their new beer, the Pickle Fight.
Yes.
Their pickle beer. Appropriately named there. It is a flavorful, zesty ale that boasts a bold and briny pickle flavor. Perfect for those who love the taste of pickles and want the experience in a refreshing and clean ale. Could you agree?
For sure. It's a pickle punch to the throat, Andy.
I couldn't agree more. Pickle Fight is an absolute knockout. Oh, I see what they did there.
That's pretty good.
Little play on words. Usually I'm the wordsmith. I guess Nebraska Brewing, we got to tip their cap.
We do.
Don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL. Welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
JaBron.
Oh, the parlay pounder.
You got it.
And we had to bring a guest back to the show, a returning guest, a returning guy, when he's not out changing the world for the better, building bridges, literal bridges. Outside of Omaha, the Fremont, Nebraska area. Skyler Self. Skyler, thanks for joining the show.
Good to be here, Andy. Thank you.
You betcha. And that's a true story. This guy builds
bridges, and guess what? He watches a lot of hockey as well.
That's a perfect segue, because I think we're going to talk NHL.
Finals.
We got the finals here, the Stanley Cup, the one they're all talking about here. And this should be a very fun, kind of a surprising matchup here.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but when I think of hockey, I think Las Vegas, Nevada, I think Florida,
Miami, Tampa Bay. Those are the hockey towns that really seem to grab them.
Those are your traditional northeastern
Phoenix,
towns. Yep. So, and that's what we got here. Well, lucky for us, that's what we got. We got the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
Back to the Cup Finals. Their first year they made it back in 2017, 2018. They're back now. And the Florida Panthers, a huge long shot, but give them their due. After getting by the Boston Bruins Bruins.
Yeah.
They've been on a tear.
No, exactly.
I mean, they have been destroying teams.
They have been.
I'm looking at a plus 115 here in game one for Florida, minus 135. So the Golden Knights are your minus 135 favorites. Over under sitting at that 5 goals. Square on that 5 goals. JaBron, let's start with you. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, this kind of really just mirrors the NBA Finals, Andy.
It does.
Literally, with the Florida Panthers being the Miami Heat and the Vegas Golden Knights being one of the better teams all year, just like the Denver Nuggets. These two clubs began the postseason at opposite end of the spectrum, just like we said. The Panthers are a scrappy underdog team who just squeaked into the playoffs as a wild card team. Meanwhile, the Golden Knights finished atop the Western Conference and look to win its first Stanley Cup, like you were just alluding to. As great as the Panthers have been, though, in the postseason, winning in Sin City won't be easy. They've dropped each of their last 5 road games against the Golden Knights, losing all but one of those contests by a multi-goal margin. So it's a tough place to play, but Florida really, really has been stepping it up as of late. But if I had to go game one, you got to go with the home team, the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, okay, all right. But the Florida Panthers have some rest here on their side.
No doubt.
I know they're not at home, though. Skyler, where you at?
I really like the Panthers.
There you go.
It's really, like you said, I'm glad that you said and mentioned that it is really, really hard to play in Vegas.
For sure.
Those guys get up for these games, and especially for the Stanley Cup Final, they're going to get up. But there's a couple key players for this Florida team that you guys got to keep your eye on, and it is Matthew Tkachuk. He had that late last second goal to put them in to the Stanley Cup Final. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but I mean, he's a big time player. I mean, he's gonna get goals in this series. He's gonna really, they're gonna really work through him as their main scoring guy. Look for Alexander Barkov. He's been kind of a sleeper guy in this last series. Hasn't been scoring much, but he's gonna really get the puck a lot. And I think they're gonna pull it out. And I do actually like the over on goals in this matchup.
You like the over?
I like the over on goals in this matchup at 5.5.
And I really was going to put that as my best bet of the game is the over in this game. The Panthers are going to push and test the opposition. They're no slouches like I was just alluding to, but the Golden Knights are deep enough to withstand the storm, and they're just going to I believe they're going to score out. And another one that you got to look at, Andy, is that both oppositions are sitting at over 2.5 goals, whichever way that you go for it. Either you want the Panthers to go over 2.5, which is at a minus 135, or the Vegas Knights at a minus 170 for over 2.5 goals. I think these are both very good bets because I think this actually pushes to 7 goals. So overall, I really like the over. Like you said, sitting at 5.5. If you can get it at 5, smack it because that is going over for sure. And everybody's saying playoff hockey is going to be tight. Not this one in Vegas, baby. They're out there to play. It's going to be high scoring. I think the
bright lights. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I got it.
Because like all my hockey guys that I'm listening to, all these articles I'm reading, they're saying, the Golden Knights are so big, they're so physical, their defense, the multiple lines. And here you guys are saying they're going to shred it. The Panthers are going to shred them. They're going to score.
I'm not saying they're going to shred them, but everybody in every round so far has been saying the Florida Panthers are small. They're not going to be able to score on the opponent. Right. And guess what's happened? They can score. Well, they're meant to be there.
They're on a tear.
But Vegas can score as well, so that's why I'm taking that over. I really think the Vegas Knights get this 4-2. So
you like that over as well there, Skyler?
I like the over on total goals, but I do think Panthers do end up winning this game one. I think they steal it.
Panthers stealing game one?
I love the Panthers the whole way around. Ever since they did what they did to Boston, I love that comeback and that story. And like I said, with Tkachuk and Barkov, those two guys. I mean, they're a dynamic duo out there, and it is must-see TV, and you guys need to get out there and watch that.
Tkachuk has 21 points in 16 playoff games. He leads the team, 9 goals, 12 assists. So, he's been tearing it up. I also think that both of these goalies, kind of unsung heroes for really both these teams.
Absolutely.
They are. And maybe I've been listening to too much of that defensive talk there, so I'm kind of shied away from those goals. I mean, that's what everybody wants to see. It's what you expect to see in Las Vegas. And the Florida Panthers have been bucking the trend.
They have.
The entire time since that Boston series. Somehow coming back. Weren't they down 3-1?
Yeah, they were down 3-1 in that series, and they ended up coming back. And like you said, with Barkov playing the way he is behind that, and with that net behind him, man, he's been playing good. I just think with Vegas, the way they score, I like the over on goals.
Yep.
I mean, if you got guys like Marchal on Vegas and Eichel really going, I mean, they're scoring goals. They're coming out of there scoring goals.
Yep. So all these games are going to be on TNT. People will be able to see them. The first game, one that we're talking about, is going to be Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yep.
Any other in-game bets that you guys are looking at all?
Well, for
Player
sure.
Props?
For sure, I got a parlay that's going to smack Andy. I really do.
Okay.
And it's plus 400 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Las Vegas Golden Knights winning.
Okay.
Las Vegas Golden Knights winning the first period. And Jack Eichel, anytime goal scorer. This guy is the heartbeat for the Vegas Knights. If they want to win, he's got to score. And, this is just a small little play. $25, Andy, and you can return $125 on this parlay. Like I said, plus 400 parlay. You can get that at DraftKings anywhere you want to. Check it out over the bridge, all that kind of stuff. But I really think Vegas will hold home ice or home court, as you would say.
Arena.
But, no, do not count the Panthers out in this series, Andy. They're at a plus one. You can tell how
tight it is
how
with
close
the
Vegas is keeping this to the chest because they're only a plus 100 to win the series, and this is a wild card team against one of the best teams in all of the NHL. So you can tell how much Florida has turned that line at just a plus 100 to win this series.
Well, I think what you're seeing is books are getting tired of getting beat up by guys like Skyler that are betting on the Florida Panthers here. So you're starting to see the market kind of shift its way back, and that's why you're at that plus 115 rate now for the Florida Panthers. And you're right about Eichel. He leads them in playoff scoring.
No doubt.
6 goals, 12 assists for a total of 17 during 17 playoff games thus far. And another thing that I've been hearing and been reading is just how balanced the Golden Knights are. And for me, that I don't follow the NHL from game to game, all games, all season long. The playoffs are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They really are. But then I lean on people that have been watching.
Yeah.
And I take what they say, kind of serious.
No doubt.
And when they say that the Knights are a complete and balanced team, I'm listening to that. But the Florida Panthers, you can't deny this run that they're on.
It's the run, baby.
Sometimes that happens.
It works.
Why is that happening, Skyler?
They're just playing really good hockey, and I said though earlier, Bobrovsky, with him playing how he's playing, protecting that net back there, dude, he is playing out of his mind. And I mean, he hasn't been like a spectacular goalie like forever. This is just kind of just been along with the run. It's been going along with the run.
People get in funks. It's what happens. It's where stars are born, and stars are born in the playoffs. So I totally agree with you, and it's going to be a good series. But I do believe Vegas gets the home win. Game 1. You got game 1. You got Vegas winning game 1. Skyler, you got the Panthers winning.
Yes.
I like the parlay play there from the Parlay Pounder. I'm going with the Knights as well. With the 135, I'm hesitant after listening to you two guys taking the under on those 5 total goals. I thought that might have been one of the better bets out there.
Go over.
How defensive-minded these two teams
This is where's the line. We always hit the over.
Yeah, overs are fun. Come on, overs are fun.
Real men bet the over.
That's true.
Yes, sir.
And then Andy will take it.
And then you'll win. And then you'll win the money. Yeah.
Well, Skyler, we had a lot of fun here. Would you mind coming back for one more?
Yes, sir. I would love it.
We got to talk a little UFC here.
UFC, and that's
UFC
right
Fight
up.
Night.
That's right up Skyler's alley as well. So
there we go.
Sounds good.
Well, let's take a quick minute here to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Clothing Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod, all one word, STOCKANDROD.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL. And And welcome back to WTL, everybody. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
JaBron,
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
We're getting back into your wheelhouse here with UFC Fight Night.
For sure.
We also got the Skyman.
Yep.
Skyler Self. This is his wheelhouse, too.
Yeah, I think
we did a little hockey talk. He's been smashing the hockey talk there. But then but now we're going to get into some A-plus fighting with the UFC. And, it's Saturday, June 3rd.
For sure.
Main card's going to start about 7 Central Standard Time, 8 Central Standard Time at the Apex in sparkly Las Vegas. Two of our matchups are coming from Vegas.
Yeah.
This weekend.
The hockey game in this one, yep.
And let's start with the lightweight bout. That is Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. And he is the heavy favorite here at minus 190.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. And, this is just the perfect way to get back into the UFC before the big card next weekend. Mm-hmm. Amanda Nunes back in the octagon. Yep. Everybody's really excited to see her. And then Charles Oliveira as well. So two of the biggest stars in the UFC coming back next week. I'm sure we'll break that down in next week's show. But like you said, the legend Jim Miller coming back out to face Jared Gordon. No. A little bit, me and Skyler were talking off camera a little bit here. Jared Gordon, we think he kind of got a little, sidetracked, a little, taken advantage of the hype. His last fight against Patty, the Batty Pimblett.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's listed as a no contest now on UFC.com.
Yeah.
Oh, really? No, I did not know that.
Yeah, it was a loss.
Well,
right?
I mean, I remember when I put it on the bet slip, and I won some money off Patty there. So, no, a lot of people think that got stolen from him. I believe that Jim Miller is probably a little bit stepped down in competition for him, but you cannot walk into this fight, Jared Gordon, and think that this is a pushover. No. This is Jim Miller. This guy has 35 wins in the UFC. That is probably more than everybody in this entire weight class put together as well. But Jared Gordon, on the other hand, sitting there at 19-6, very, very admirable. But if we compare the physical attributes, these guys are pretty much the same except for that age, Andy. And then when we look at the numbers, Miller lands 2.8 strikes per round at a 49% accuracy, 1.5 takedowns per fight, and Jared Gordon lands a ridiculous 5.3 strikes per minute.
Ouch.
This guy is going to smack this old man. Yeah. He's going to come in. He's pissed off. Jared Gordon right now, I think he gets the TKO.
He's going to get the TKO. Skyler, where are you at?
Yeah, he's definitely coming in here pissed off. I mean, if you look at even his last fight before the Patty fight with Bobby Green, it was a no contest.
It was.
He kind of, he had to get out of there, and he didn't really get the definitive. You kind of want a definitive either win or loss in any kind of bout like that. And so he's coming in against a guy like Jim Miller with, he's got some age with him.
For sure.
35 and 17.
That's nice of you putting it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just really love Gordon in this fight, whether it's decision or I don't see him knocking him out just with how tough Jim Miller is. I just don't, but I do see Gordon getting the win.
Well, just like you guys were just saying, the reason that I like Jared Gordon by TKO or knockout, it's sitting right there at plus 330 right now. So that is a lot of value for something that could really happen. And the other reason it's that high is because Jim Miller does not give up. He does not get knocked out very much. If you really want to flip this on the other side and you guys are Jim Miller fans and you know how Jim Miller wins fights, it's by submission. Yep. And if he wins this fight, it's going to be by submission, and that's at plus 500 right now. So that is a huge value play that you don't have to put a lot of money on and still get a really, really good payout. So if you're Jim Miller fans, bet on submission. If you're a Jared Gordon guy right here, take the TKO at plus 330. You cannot beat that value. He's going to knock this old man out.
Yeah,
the books just might have sent me the other way.
There you go.
Jim Miller by plus 500 at submission. I mean, he will pull a submission off.
That's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does.
That's what the old guy does.
I just saw him do it to Cowboy.
All right, let's move up the card here to the featherweight bout. That is the number 15 contender in the world, hailing from the United States, Alex Sakaras versus Daniel Padina. Padina is an underdog here at a plus 150. Yeah. Minus 175 is the odds I'm looking at for Alex.
Yeah. Alex has gone through every up and down there since making the UFC debut back in 2011. His results have only gotten better with age, Andy, which is kind of weird for the UFC. As he enters Saturday night, having won 6 of his last 7 bouts. This guy is on fire. The 34-year-old most recently took down Julian Erosa by KO in December, so he is right there. On the other flip side, Pineda lines up similarly to Kakaris in aspect that he made his UFC debut back in 2012, where the two differ is the fact that Pineda's last 2 fights were separated by a margin of nearly 2 years due to injury.
Yeah.
And, in the UFC, when a guy's coming back off injury, you go one of 2 ways. He's back, and it's, shooting up the line, or he's done forever. So that is just the way that I'm looking at this. It is. It's terrible to think about it like that, but that's really the way the UFC is. If you come back and you're not ready to come back, that could be the last time you ever step in the octagon. So there's a lot riding on Pineda's comeback right here. It's a great story, but it could get really sloughed out by Alex right here.
Well, both these guys are coming off fights, even though there's been a little bit of delay. Skyler, how are you looking at this one?
I mean, this is going to be fireworks for 2 guys that are 37 and 34. Sure. I like Caceres in this fight just because, like you mentioned, with the injuries with Pineda, and that's always been a problem with him.
For sure,
he's always been kind of on and off, and he doesn't really stay consistent. And with Caceres going on this little run he's going, I think he's going to keep pulling it out. And his record doesn't show how good he actually is. He's fought killers and lost to killers.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's 20-13 overall, and you mentioned the 6 out of 7 out of the last fight, so he's obviously doing something good here as of recently.
No doubt.
Yep.
And like he said, he fought a lot of really, really good fighters in his early days. And the only way that you stick around in the UFC and lose is losing to really, really good competition. So that's just a really good, nugget there for Alex there. The really good bet that I see here is Alex winning by decision. It's at a plus 215. I do not think he gets the finish over Pineda, but I do believe he gets his hand raised with a decision, and that's your best value right there at plus 215.
All right. Should we move to the main event?
Yeah, let's do
Something
it.
kind of fun here. A flyweight bout as the main event. We don't see this too often.
Yeah.
The number 3 contender in the world, hailing out of New Zealand, Kara France, taking on Amir Albazi. And this is just straight up, guys. This is a coin flip. This is a minus 110 bet no matter who you're looking at here right now. I'm going to start with you, Skyler. How are you measuring this one up?
I really like Albazi in this one. I do. This dude's a killer, guys.
Yeah.
He might not have watched him a lot, but he finishes fights. And so does Kara France.
Well, he's 16-1.
Yeah, and so is Kara France. Though let's not throw rocks at him. He will finish a fight too. I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen him finish Garbrandt and Bontanarin. And
if I threw a rock at any of these guys, I'd be running the other way really, really fast.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, and then he's got a good win against Askarov, but I just think Albazi, this dude's tough as nails, dude. I watched this last fight. I think he's coming out with a win.
And he's coming off a win where Kara France, he's coming off a loss.
Yeah.
I mean,
now, I don't know if I'm going to do this too much, but I think I might actually agree with Skyler a little bit here.
Whoa,
I'll just run it down a little bit. Kara France enters Saturday looking to bounce back, like we said, off a failed attempt to take the interim belt from Brandon Moreno. That is no slight. Brandon Moreno is the best fighter in this weight class. Has been for a while, I believe. I think he's even better than Davidson Figueiredo. I think Brandon Moreno, assassin baby, best fighter overall in this division. So you got to give it up to Kara France that he even was in that fight. But he was defeated by TKO.
Yeah.
That's certainly not – it's not going to be easy against Amir here. Albazi has stormed into the UFC with 4 straight victories, including a TKO over Costa in his most recent appearance in December. The Iraq native checks with only 1 loss. Like you guys were saying, I believe Amir gets this win. Kara France is going to be struggling in this fight.
Hey.
It's just what it is.
It's okay to agree with our guests every now and then.
I understand.
It's okay.
I understand.
Do you have a parlay play for this UFC fight card.
What I have to go with, Andy, is Amir by TKO, which is at a plus 50, and I really think Alex Correas is going to get that win by decision at plus 215. So I'm just those two bets. It's just a two. It's just a two-teamer. But this is a big one, Andy. It comes out to $25 to pay out $511. I really think that this could happen. I really think Kai Kara-France is going to come into this one just a little bit too overconfident and really, thinking he's the top dog. I just fought the champion. Amir Albazi is going to come in here and really put his prince name on Kai Kara-France. So I like the knockout for him, and like I said, Correas is going to get the win by decision. So that is a huge play. Looking to stack the wall a little bit.
Going for it there. What do you think of that play?
I love that play. That play is good. I would tail that.
Well, I'm very smart. I'm very smart.
Hey, you parlay pounder.
He's the parlay pounder. We've been saying this for a while now.
Thank you,
guys. All right, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. We've been drinking their new beer, the Pickle Fight. It is their pickle beer, and it is delicious. And you guys, if you're on it, you better, if you like the pickle flavor and you like pickle beers and all that type of stuff, you better get out there and get it because it is sold out. It's still, you can still find it in Hy-Vee and different
Bakers, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It is really just a really good beer, especially coming off Memorial Day weekend, heading into the summer, Andy.
There you go.
These are the perfect beer for a Bloody Mary. Most people put pickles in their Bloody Mary. This alleviates that. You don't actually have to have that spear in there. It's a pickle punch to your throat.
So you better, with the UFC,
Let's go.
Symmetry is working here. First class in every glass, Nebraska Brewing Company. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back to WTL, everybody. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
JaBron.
Parlay pounder.
You got it.
How about Skyler there? Skyler Self
awesome.
there, talking a little NHL, a little UFC. And now we got to talk about the road to Omaha.
Let's do it.
The field has been set. The 64 teams have been selected.
Yep.
And we got to talk some of the front runners, some of the teams that we've talked about a few episodes ago. And when you know it, they have made it. Oh boy, the SEC is really flexing right now.
Oh, yes, sir.
Not only do they have the most teams in by a wide margin, they also are hosting the most regionals. And that's where we're going to start down in Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge Regional, with LSU, the number 5 overall seed, hosting. But I'll tell you what, Oregon State's sitting there at 2. Sam Houston, another really good team out of Texas, the 3 seed. And one of my favorites and America's favorite, let's stick with it, the Green Wave. I think they're like 20 games under 500.
They are.
Cinderella story, if there ever was one. They made it, but their landing spot is in Baton Rouge to square off with the Tigers.
Yeah, Andy, and this is just, the LSU Tigers will host a regional in Baton Rouge. They're plus 800 right now at DraftKings to take down the whole tournament, which I think is a very good future play for anybody out there that's already looking that far. You can tell how bad the books think that they're going to win this one. They're opening up at a minus 550 to win their opening round matchup against the Tulane Green Wave. So this is likely going to happen, but they're only at a minus 150 right now, Andy, to win this Super Regional on DraftKings right now. So I believe that this is really good play right now at minus 150. LSU is going to take this down. Oregon State is a little inflated right now. Yeah. They're living off their name from a couple years ago. But LSU in Baton Rouge, this is too easy for the Tigers. They're making it back to Omaha. You're going to see a lot of purple and yellow in Omaha here in the next couple weeks. And I really like them to take down the tournament. That's my best future play right now.
No kidding. Over the Memorial Day weekend, thanks to all the veterans and all that good stuff. We truly do appreciate it. I was out on a lake just outside of Omaha, and I already saw LSU flags waving.
For sure.
No kidding. They've already made their way to the Omaha metro area. And yeah, Tulane, 19-40 overall record, 8-16 in their own conference, but they somehow turned it on when they needed to.
Yeah.
But you got to feel like that's going to run out, and LSU's probably going to hand them their medicine.
Exactly, Andy. And the only reason I forgot to say this about Oregon State, they travel farther than any other team in any other regional. They're traveling over 2,500 miles to get to Baton Rouge, one of the furthest trips in college baseball to go to a regional. So I just really think it's going to catch up with them. And LSU is sitting pretty at home with the best fans in baseball sitting there in Baton Rouge.
All right, so I know where else you want to go, and that's talking about a couple more powerhouse names here. Yeah. And that's the Coral Gables Regional.
Yes.
Where you got the number 9 overall seed in the Miami Hurricanes at the 1 seed, obviously hosting, but Texas sitting there at 2. We got to talk Big 12 baseball. And Texas, man, they were on a tear. They were on fire to close out the season, only to lose the Big 12 and went 0-2.
Yeah.
They lost 2 games there, and then the voters thought, you know what, you don't get a host. And that was after the coach and everybody else came out and said, oh, I think we got another regional under our belt. Not so fast.
Not so fast. And like you said, Andy, this is going to be a very good regional, and it's to be filled with low-scoring pitcher duels among, a few strong teams, like you said. Yeah. But Miami right now has the best, they're the front runners because they're hosting at a -115. But I believe this Texas +190 to take down this regional is probably one of the best values in the regionals right now, just because I believe they are the best team in this regional. Texas, like you said, likely missed out on hosting a regional, like you said, from an early exit of the conference tournament. Yep. Unlike last year's Longhorn team, they made a run to Omaha. This year's Texas team lacking in batting, Andy. Last year we were talking about Texas entire way about how good they were on the offensive side. This is a totally different Texas team. They rely on their pitching, and they keep it low. Like I said, I really like Texas's chance to take down this regional. Miami, it's going to be a tough out, but I believe Miami flexed their muscles en route to a little, of an ACC runner-up, but I believe the Canes have one of the weaker resumes when it comes to among the number 1 seeds in the regionals. Oh,
okay. So you're going horns up on this one.
Horns up.
Horns up.
As bad as it pains me.
And whoever advances out of this, I mean, then now they're going to have to square off with the regional that features Stanford, Texas A&M, Cal State, Florida, Fullerton, all teams that we see in Omaha all the time. And guess what? They can't all make it. Only 8 make it. So it's not an easy road.
It's not.
For Texas, no matter which way you slice it, even if they do get out of this regional.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk a little Big Ten baseball?
Let's talk about the Big Ten, Andy.
A little Big Ten baseball, and we got to tip our cap to the Hawkeyes.
Mm-hmm.
But give them their due. I mean, they've won 40 games. We said it a week ago. But we're talking about the Indiana State, the Sycamores.
Yeah.
They are hosting, and Iowa gets to go over there. I mean, and it's not going to be a pushover. Obviously, Indiana State had a phenomenal season. They're hosting a regional here, but Iowa with that 2 seed, I like where they're at. North Carolina's sitting at the 3, and I think that's who everyone's kind of looking at, like thinking the Tar Heels are going to clean up and probably advance out of this regional. Is that how you see it?
Well, that is the way that it's shaken out according to the odds, Andy. You got North Carolina, UNC sitting there at +150 right now to take down this, this regional. And then you got Iowa as the second favorite at +225, and then the host, Indiana State, at +235. It's fun when you get a team like this to host a regional, just because, Andy, everybody's betting against them, but they are the home team here.
Yeah.
You are having North Carolina come in and Iowa come in, and those 2 teams have to face off each other first. So I really like Indiana State for the value play right now at the +235 to take down this regional.
Rick Heller had a great quote, and he goes, "We took it out of the voters' hands, and we knew we would have to do that at Iowa. Win 40 games, do all this stuff. It doesn't matter. The Big Ten is usually a 1, 2, maybe a 3-bid team.
It is.
And no one's looking at the Hawkeyes, so they had to go out there, take care of business in the conference tournament. Even though they had a great season, it didn't matter, and they did it. They took care of business. They're hot, and they didn't have to travel too far either. You just talked about how Oregon State had to travel all the way down to Florida. Yeah. That's not the case here for the Hawkeyes.
No. And like, you do have to give it up to the Hawkeyes right here, Andy, because there is a very good value play at plus 225 here. And the Hawkeyes,
plus money.
Their roster is terrific. Pitching staff, Andy, led by 3 rock-solid starters. So this is how you win college baseball, especially in the regional era, is have those starters go late into games and be able to be available for that last game as well. So that Iowa rotation counters a poor hitting Indiana State team. North Carolina will be without an all-conference outfielder, Vance Honeycutt, which could be a very, very bad thing for UNC. So, like you said, I do not like the North Carolina plus 150. If you're on the Hawkeyes, go with the Hawkeyes. I do like the pitching staff, but Indiana State at home, I think they're going to be jazzed up a little bit. So give me the Sycamores.
The Sycamores
to take down this regional.
The Fighting Larry Birds. You can't talk about Indiana State without talking about at least one Larry Bird reference.
Larry Legend.
And give me the Hawkeyes, because I've noticed during the regular season and even postseason play, a team with a really good pitching staff, they usually win the games.
Yeah.
And I like Iowa's pitching. I really do.
And just a little nugget for you, Andy. The Sycamores are 2-9 against top 50 opponents this season, so they have not played the when they do play the best, they seem to succumb to it. So, but they usually don't play those guys at home.
Yep, exactly. You're exactly right. They're on the road when they have to play against Big Ten teams, ACC teams of that nature, and all those teams have to go down south early on and usually get beat up in a couple tournaments early in the season. Let's talk about another Big Ten team that I've been watching all season long. I know you have, being a Maryland Terrapins fan. We have family out there and all that good stuff. They're the 2 seed in the Winston-Salem Regional, but it's going to be tough sledding for the Terrapins because they're up against the number 1 overall seed, Wake Forest, catching so much publicity. Usually there's some back talk saying, they don't deserve that number 1 seed. It's actually a consensus. Even all the SEC people I've been listening to say, no, Wake Forest is for real. They probably deserve that. We were talking about pitching. Wake Forest might have the best pitching staff in the entire field of 64.
No doubt, Andy. And to take down a regional and you're sitting there at minus 235 odds, that's pretty much that's as much of a lock as you can get. As far as a book goes, they don't like putting odds like out this, for a regional because they want people to bet on it. But this is telling people, do not bet Wake Forest. Go on these other guys because they have no shot at winning. Like you said, Maryland had a huge season. Really fun team to watch.
Yeah, up and down
Took down our Huskers in Omaha. Yep. I was at the game. I do believe the Huskers got shafted a little bit, but that's neither here or there. Like you said, the pitching core for Wake stands on a tier of its own, Andy, and 4 of the 5 starters post an ERA under 3.
That's disgusting. Why?
So if these guys get into a dogfight, they can throw starter after starter after starter. And you saw with the Maryland Terrapins, they really struggle in the back end of games. They have really good starters, but the bullpen is very, very thin for them. So Wake Forest is going to come in. They're going to smack these guys. It's a lock for the Demon Deacons in this regional.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with you on that. I think the Terrapins are going to have a tough time. Northeastern, George Mason's going to get blown out by Wake Forest. They just can't stack up. But Maryland, they do have the bats. We remember that late season where Nebraska and Maryland were just going back and forth. Nebraska won a big game, hit a lot of bombs, but they got in that bullpen, and it was just like dinger after dinger.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you can see Maryland can be hot, but then they turned it around and they scored like 19 runs or something crazy like that in the next game of that series.
No,
so
exactly.
Maryland has the offense. I just think Wake Forest has too much pitching.
They have too much pitching, but to go along with your point, Andy, the Demon Deacons kind of got a bad draw here as the first overall seed in the tournament. They drew 2 conference champions with Maryland in the Big Ten and Northeastern in the Colonial Division. So both of whom rank respectfully in RPI. So I do believe that the Demon Deacons take this down, but it is very, very good competition for the number 1 overall seed in the tournament.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Now, you don't have any futures or parlays you're looking at yet. You want to let these regionals play out?
You got to let it play out a little bit. But like I said, it is, if I had to go with a future, it's the LSU Tigers.
Okay.
They love Omaha. It's about time for another national championship, and that's sitting at plus 800 on DraftKings and other books right now. So go smack that right now if you're with me. Go Tigers in Omaha. I can't wait to see it.
Who's fading JaBron? Nobody
could.
Well, how about do it for us this week, folks? Be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio's their Facebook account, Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's been a lot of fun watching that channel kind of grow and evolve. We're having a lot of fun with those shorts.
Yep.
And, of course, if you want those daily free picks, look us up on TikTok.
Yes.
For JaBron, the Parlay Pounder, huge shout out and thanks goes out to Skyler Self for joining us, talking a little UFC and NHL
no doubt.
Stanley Cup Finals. My name's Andy Klassen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.